doors will open to the first Coachella Day 1 22 Music Festival. Right behind me are these cool little light swings that are happening, and then just to the right of me.com. And Jen, I don't know about you, but I am ready to swing into 2022 live at Coachella.
Plus, get ready for a thrilling time. A new fair kicking off this weekend, and we're live from the fair that's replacing the annual Date Festival this year in India.
Hey, good evening, John. Yes, it is the first of 10 fun-filled days here, and you can definitely feel that positive energy, smell the beautiful fair food that's going on right now, and of course hear the thrill seekers taking on all these rides. Well, right now I'm on the Ferris wheel, but in my personal opinion, it has the best views of this entire fair.
Yes, the community now knows the plans for what's going to happen with Frank Bogert's statue right behind me. And in fact, some friends and family of Bogert have stopped by to take some final photos with the former Palm Springs mayor statue.
Good evening, John and Karen. So firefighters are still out here working on this fire. You can see them scattered all over this mobile home park, and these strong winds are just not helping. You see firefighters up there on the roof. We have at least 20 fire engines here working to get all of this put out as well. And CAL FIRE says 2 firefighters have suffered non-life-threatening injuries, and one of the mobile homes was completely destroyed, and 4 other homes have been damaged, one of them outside of the park. I did get to talk to one of the residents earlier who says she saw a fire happen this morning, doesn't know how it happened or how it started.
She is live in Palm Springs at Gene Autry Trail right now with the very latest on conditions there. Sam, I mean, I can see you're, trying to stand still there in the winds. How do you see this going as the winds are expected to get stronger throughout the day?
I mean, Jen, as you can see, these winds are relentless. I have a pretty wide stance going on me right now just to keep Sonas and Nez, our photojournalist right here. We're just trying to even keep balance out here. And as you can see, there's a bunch of cars making U-turns right now here at Gene Autry through the wash. It's been shut down for a second time today due to these dangerous winds. Now, wind gusts of up to 46 miles per hour are already being felt here. And as Patrick said earlier, this wind advisory will be transitioning into a high wind warning at 4 p.m. today. Can't imagine it getting any worse than this, but it's expected to do. But of course, be sure to stay with News Channel 3 for updates for continuing coverage on this throughout the day. Live in Palm Springs, Samantha Lemebow, News Channel 3.
Right now in Palm Springs at Gene Autry Trail. She's in the thick of it, as you can see.
These winds are relentless. It just blew my cap off. I'm trying to keep my balance here right now, and as you can see here at Gene Autry through the wash, it's been shut down for a second time today due to these dangerous winds. Wind gusts of up to 46 miles per hour already being felt here in Palm Springs, and it's only expected to get worse throughout the day. After days of witness testimony, the judge in this case has ruled there's enough evidence to move forward with the trial in the murders of Jonathan Reynoso and Audrey Moran. Reynoso and Moran disappeared back in 2017. After 3 years of searching, their skeletal remains were identified. The suspects in this case are Aaron Bernal, Manuel Rios, Abraham Fregoso, and Adeline Castaneda. 10 witnesses, spanning from Indio police officers, Riverside deputies, investigators, and even a criminal who himself played a role in these murders, testified over the last few days. On day 1 of the hearing, Marissa Montoya, a former roommate of Bernal, said Bernal and Moran were seeing each other in May of 2017.
I don't know the exact date, but I do know she was at the house the day before she went missing.
An investigator for the Riverside County Sheriff's Office, Carlos Mendoza, worked undercover as an inmate while the suspects were in custody. Mendoza testified this was a drug deal that had gone bad between Reynoso and the suspects, Rios and Fregoso. Rios reportedly hit Reynoso to, quote, teach him a lesson. However, that strike ultimately ended Reynoso's life. Mendoza said Moran was crying hysterically and wanted to call the police. And out of fear of law enforcement finding out, Fregoso allegedly strangled Moran. Mendoza described how the suspect tried to cover up the crimes.
Had chopped the body into pieces. They were subsequently placed inside a black container. I'm sorry, not black, he didn't specify the color. Inside of plastic containers and then buried in the backyard.
Rios and Fregoso faced 2 counts each of murder. Bernal and Castaneda faced 1 count each of murder. They'll be back in court on March 17th for the information arraignment. As for the trial, that's expected to start before the end of May. In Riverside, Samantha Lemebow, News Channel 3.
Yeah, Peter, thank you so much. Normally Indian Wells, right now you can make a case that it is windy in Wells, really windy out here, a lot of sand and dust affecting play. You could argue that, but men's, women's singles matches today in the first round, maybe none bigger than one going on right behind me. Inside Stadium 1, Naomi Osaka, 2018 tournament champion, two-time U.S. Open champion, taking on American star Sloane Stephens. This match in progress, going to go, it is in a third and decisive set, so we'll have the coverage for you when that one finishes up, highlights, and a final result. But right now, I want to bring in Bailey Arredondo as we shift gears here to the men's side. And Bailey, you had a chance to not only watch practice, but listen in on a press conference from Rafa Nadal, 21-time Grand Slam champ, looking for his fourth title here at Indian Wells.
It certainly doesn't get better than this, Blake, in terms of tennis. Rafael Nadal in every conversation for the greatest tennis player to ever live back here in tennis paradise. And what I was curious on is how much has changed since his title here in 2013. Aside from him being 9 years older, how is his game different? Well, you're about to see, not much has changed.
Yeah, honestly, no, I have been here for more than a week. So, yeah, I always enjoy it. As everybody knows, it's one of my favorites. My favorite tournaments, without a doubt. And yeah, I've been practicing, playing some golf, enjoying the good weather here. Yeah, I'm trying to be ready for the tournament. Now I take it a little bit more with calm, but I am increasing the practice and I hope to be ready.
Yeah, Rafa and tennis were certainly meant to be together, but I'll even go a step further, and Rafa and tennis paradise are a match made in heaven.
Yeah, and speaking of matches, we said at the top, Naomi Osaka, Sloane Stephens going on right now. We will get you the coverage of that. And I got to say, though, right now it's not tennis paradise. I mean, it is windy in Wells. I mean, look, we're just blowing all over the place. Shout out to Inez, our photographer, staying with us. For Bailey Arredondo, Blake Arthur, News Channel 3, back to you guys in the studio.
All right. A correctional deputy academy in Riverside preparing a new class for jobs in Riverside County jails. Let's see where they stand on staffing.
We're not gaining what we needed to gain.
Sheriff Chad Bianco highlighting the competitive nature of the market for capita coverage in the Valley.
We've always said they need to increase, but then it comes down to a money. Can they increase?
In those contract cities, the cities set their coverage levels, which raises another question when it comes to Sheriff's Department manpower. They contract for it.
Right.
So that means unincorporated areas are kind of your rubber band.
Yes. I don't like looking at it like that because those county area residents still have to be taken care of also.
The Desert Hot Springs chief says staffing shortages do make a difference when it comes to public safety, limiting things like community policing initiatives. Captain Kenneth Reichel is heading up recruiting for the Sheriff's Department, looking for hundreds of men and women who want to serve.
We are pushing our message out that we are hiring.
Their goal is to add 300 correctional deputies and 240 deputy sheriffs. And to help, the Sheriff's Department and other agencies are relaxing some standards, like facial hair, not requiring COVID vaccines, allowing tattoos and more. Palm Springs is putting money on the line, going for officers with experience.
Thank you, Haley. Tonight, traffic is back up to speed on Interstate 10 after a Greyhound bus heading from LA to Phoenix crashed, sending at least a dozen people to the hospital and backing up the freeway for miles. We brought you this story as it was breaking today live at noon on News Channel 3. And Jake Ingrassia was the only reporter on scene. He has more tonight from some of those passengers on board.
It was really extreme, you know what I mean? Thank God.
James Green says he is lucky to be alive after this Greyhound bus lost control and slammed into the center divider on Interstate 10 heading east in Banning, just outside the Valley.
Oh man, I'm hurting right now.
At least 12 people taken to the hospital with varying injuries, but none life-threatening. And a harrowing scene it must have been for those passengers on board the bus. You can see their personal items here just littered across the floor. CAL FIRE says there were 33 people on board this bus when it crashed. One of the passengers who was not hurt telling me that it appeared to be a tire blowing out that seemed to cause it. He said it shook him awake and that he is just lucky to have made it off uninjured.
I was asleep, and in the middle of my sleep, man,
a boom, 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 boom. I turned around and people screaming and hollering and yelling.
The windshield on the bus shattered and detached, glass littering the road.
The bus received damage on the driver's side down the whole length, which is predominantly where the patients were injured were coming from.
CHP says the bus was going 60 to 65 miles per hour in the number 2 lane. It crashed into an SUV. The 2 people in that car were taken to the hospital. With 1 lane of the highway closed for more than 3.5 hours, the traffic backing up for miles heading into the valley.
And after the blowout, we went across the freeway. We were all slung across the highway, and we're pretty shooken up.
How scary was that for you, man?
It was extremely scary. My life flashed in front of me, you know what I mean? So it wasn't no laughing matter.
The uninjured passengers were taken onto a school bus and evacuated from the scene. Many of them just thankful to be walking off unscathed.
Man, I'm just happy to be safe, man. That's the main thing, man. Ain't nobody seriously get hurt. You know, we made it through.
Jake and Gracia, News Channel 3, Banning.